Hey there, my name is Chris Mango, and I'm the creator of Mango Mischief, a satirical, retro-style JRPG that's available for PC on Steam. If you're watching this video, you're about to see me playing my own game, showing off shortcuts and going into detail about the development process and intentions with essentially every aspect of Mango Mischief. So I think it's fair to say spoiler alert. If you'd like to play my game before watching this, the Steam link is in the description. I hope you enjoy my playthrough and commentary. Alright, episode 6. Let's jump back into the game. When last we left, we picked up the strong slipcase, which allowed us to bind some magic energy, which allowed us to move into this new area here. Oh my! This place is absolutely crawling with baddies. They're everywhere. I think I can see the treasure from here. There's nowhere to run either. Looks like we'll need to fight our way through the crowd. And then back again to leave this place. The encounter right here is ridiculous. At least it's super convenient that we can totally see all the baddies in front of us. It would be really frustrating if all of them were invisible. So, this is basically where the random encounters will slowly come to a problem area, and that's on purpose because the very next place, we'll see that the game starts to shift more towards the visible encounter preference. I know plenty of gamers feel some sort of way towards random encounters or visible encounters. So this game lays on the random encounters pretty thickly, and then eventually moves on to almost entirely visible encounters. And the main reason for doing so is because of this specific, very small map. However, every single step you take, you're going to end up, well, every single step or every other step you end up taking, you'll end up drawing into another battle. I want to show you something. And what I'm going to show you is, well, two things. First of all, you cannot escape. And secondly, I want to show you what happens when you lose in this area. So I'm actually going to throw the battle here. I'm going to purposely die. And you end up taking a good amount of damage pretty fast over time. You've got 4 elementals in every single battle, and they each hit all 4 of your allies. So if you're not paying attention, you can really get your butt kicked. I'll show you some strategies to beating this pretty easily, of course. But I'm going to purposely throw this game, or throw this battle, because in like 99% of the game, if you lose a battle, you get a game over, and you have to reset back to your last save point, which can certainly be annoying if you haven't saved for a little while. That's why I always recommend saving very frequently, whether you die in battle, or you make some sort of other mistake in the game, or maybe your computer freezes or something. But I want to show you what happens here. I think I should be able to lose this battle after this round of the elementals attacking. Hopefully I die. One more hit. Come on, Marrow and Arak. Awesome. Still need one more, though. But it doesn't matter, because Marrow's the only one left. And now surely Marrow will die. Okay. She had pretty high magic defense, so she lived a little bit longer. Sprig's party was defeated. The name of the party leader, whoever is kind of leading the pack, the trail, that'll be whoever's party we're talking about here. But there's no difference between whether it says Sprig's party, Marion's party, Marrow, or Arak. It's whoever just appears at the top. You can always change the formation in the pause menu. So now, I go back, but I actually warp back to the house that was right outside. Obviously, I need to talk to the healing statue because I'm back at 1 HP. But this is a little mechanic that I purposely put in this, only really, in this remote area. You can kind of abuse this, because if you're speedrunning the game, if you're interested in beating the game as fast as possible, you do not have to fight your way to the treasure chest and then back into the corner. You still have to fight your way to the treasure chest, but if you throw the next battle, you'll get to skip all of the battles walking back to the upper right area. You can just warp back to the house without needing to fight twice as many battles. Now we're going to verse these enemies for real now. We'll make our way towards the bottom left where the chest is. And I'm going to really focus on what these elementals are. As you can see here, we've got a fire elemental, earth, ice, and light. These are the 4 types, one from each duality: fire with water, earth with wind, ice with thunder, and light with dark. These 4 are in this battle. Every other battle, you'll see that the elementals switch to the other 4 types: water, wind, thunder, and dark. This is for you to get used to using certain magic that appears on certain allies, and equipping the proper weapons, and figuring out how to deal with enemies that really pack a wallop as far as doing a lot of damage. So given that I'm Marion right now, my magic ends up being able to do damage, super effective damage, to the majority of these sorts of elementals. I've got water to do damage to fire, I've got wind to do damage to earth, as in super effective damage. Marrow has a lot more options. Maybe we want to focus on the water, killing off the fire first. But now, as you can see here, I'm still going to start taking a lot of damage. So there's a reasonable question to be had in terms of, should I just be trying to kill the enemies as fast as possible? Are there certain status ailments I could be using? That way I don't get hit really 16 times every round, 4 times 4. Like, what can I be doing? Obviously, one thing I could be doing with Iraq, I could be using mini heal all every single time. That certainly wouldn't hurt. I could also be doing things like casting Accentuate on, let's say, Marrow, because boosting the magic attack is another surefire way to deal with them faster. As far as what Sprig can do, though, Sprig's a little bit more limited because his magic elements aren't the right ones, right? Fire doesn't do super effective damage to fire. However, he does have a couple options. He can use Frenzy to do damage to everyone, although it might not be a ton of damage. He can use Vanquish to do a reasonably hard physical attack on someone. But these are magic enemies. They actually have pretty high physical defense. The only exception, of course, is if I end up having the right weapon, because Sprig's weapon is Thunder type. And so, look at that. The magic spells that Sprig can't use, he can use as a weapon. So what I mean by that is, Sprig can do either ice magic or thunder physical. You can't do both at the same time. And Marion's has the reverse, right? Marion can have a water spell, but she's not going to have access to a water weapon. She'll have access to the fire weapon. So I purposely have them trading off half the elemental options each. Now Marrow, of course, has access to pretty much everything. Let's do Aeromancy here, so she can take a bite out of the Earth elemental. Marrow, she can follow up with more focusing on the Earth. Again, still taking some damage. There are obviously different ways you can play out these battles. As far as what Iraq can do, well, he is Lumimancy and Umbermancy, so he's always going to be able to fight whichever enemy's up here in the front. It'll either be a light type or a dark type. You just pick the other element, and you can really focus on that one. Let's say we do Frenzy. Let's see what Frenzy's like. Now, obviously, I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of HP and a good amount of NP, but I'm pretty confident I'm going to level up anyway, or at least get close. So Frenzy will do super effective damage to Ice, assuming it hits, because this is still a Thunder weapon, and maybe I do a little bit of damage to the Light Elemental too, just to whittle it down a little bit more. So that's good, not bad. Elite Beat. It looks like Elite Beat's actually going to get the attack off right away, as opposed to needing to wait around a little bit. And maybe I'll get 2 hits, and maybe that's enough to kill the Light Elemental. Cool. Level 6. If you're around levels 4, 5, and 6, and maybe 7 or 8, you should be leveling up pretty fast in this area. Again, procs another fight. Now we see the opposite elementals, which means Marrow's element magic is not useful, but her weapon can be, and I equipped an ice weapon. There's some sort of ice mace, which means I should be focusing on hitting this Thunder Elemental. I'm going to choose Opportunism, that way I can pick the enemy I want to hit, which will be the Thunder Elemental. Remember, if I choose Elite Beat, it's aimed at random, so there's no guarantee I hit the one enemy that is weak against ice. Now, as far as Marrow goes, I've got some options, so I'm basically going to play out this battle very similarly to the last battle, except Marion and Sprig have kind of switched roles here. Let's do the same thing, Accentuate on Marrow, that way she can hit even harder, because she's got some options. Again, we're going to start getting our HP whittled away a little bit, but keep in mind, every time you level up, in any class for that matter, you're going to get a little bit more HP, you're going to get higher stats, so they won't hit you quite as hard. Let's use Righteous Flames on the Water Elemental. Fire is good against water. I don't know if it'll kill. It missed, so whatever. We use Ice on Thunder. Finish that one off. We can again use Pyromancy. That was good damage. Let's use Lumimancy on this Dark Elemental. And so it's really about exploiting the weaknesses here. I guess you can completely ignore weaknesses for most of the game, but that wasn't really the intention of kind of what I was going for. I was hoping that you would spend a little bit of time focusing on the weaknesses, playing a little bit more strategically. Now, of course, if you're over-leveled, you might not find these battles particularly difficult. It depends on how much you want to grind ahead of time. But if you are pretty low, if you are a little bit under-leveled, like I would consider myself to be under-leveled right now, you should be a little bit more careful. Like, see, I didn't get to level 7 right away, so I have to pay attention to my health. I'm going to go into mini-heal, and just heal everyone. Obviously, if you're really, really close to max HP, you can make the decision as to whether or not you want to kind of top them off. Like, this would spend a good amount of magic points to give Sprig just a few extra HP, but it's up to you. If you care about going all the way and having 100 HP at the expense of some mana, do whatever works for you. I usually tend to make my way to the corners just to get a healing statue. There is no secret path that reduces the number of battles. You have to have the same number of battles every time. You can go backwards, which would probably be a mistake. If I go back up, I'd have to play the same battle that I played first, which would be annoying. That time there was 2 steps. But there is no secret path that lets you get all the way to the treasure chest in fewer battles. You have to suck it up and make your way through these. But that's not bad. Let's see if I can actually... I really want to knock out that fire enemy. Well, let's risk it. If I do mini thwack all, will I do enough damage to take out this? And still do a little bit of damage to other enemies. Let's see. Oh, it missed. It would have been enough damage, based on the fact that everyone else took like 200 HP. So you can figure out, how risky you want to play. We are going to be leveling up after this battle, so let's say we do Frenzy this time. Take out the fire and do some super effective damage. Let's attack the Earth Elemental here. Let's continue focusing on the Earth Elemental. Not bad. Let's see. Marion does not have a hit all. Devastation's the closest she's going to get. It doesn't do a ton of damage, though, as you can see here, against enemies that have pretty high physical defense. And these elementals really do have pretty high physical defense, and you want to be focusing on your magic attacks more than anything else. The exception being using a super effective weapon, like if you're Sprig or Marion specifically. Look at my health is getting low. I have to be really, really careful here. Maybe Frenzy can take out these 2. And on top of that, I am using a Thunder Weapon, so it should do good damage to the ice. If not, I might run into some trouble, because I'm looking at Arak's mana. I'm pretty low on MP, so he can't just simply use, like, a mini heal all. I might have to use, like, an item if this doesn't work out. But it works out. How great is that? I'm getting some more elemental attacks, which is very useful, because that'll mean I can focus down more enemies. Again, we've got Marion here, seeing as how she's got water, wind, and thunder, and those literally match these 3. That means her magic spells aren't going to do too well here. Instead, I should be focusing on the equipped weapon that I gave her, which again was an ice weapon, so I'm going to use that on the thunder. It doesn't really matter what I focus down with Marion. Let's say we go Pyromancy. I'm sorry, what we're going to focus on with Marrow. Let's focus... Let's just split it up a little bit. And if I can kill the Water Elemental, that's cool. If not, I can definitely tank a few more hits. As Sprig has Redemption, this is not the battle to use it in. It would be the next battle when I burst another Ice Elemental. Redemption really wouldn't... Even Redemption wouldn't do that much damage in this case because of their pretty high physical defense. Let's start working on the Wind Elemental with some Geomancy. Let's have Arak focus on the Dark Elemental, and maybe Sprig can finish off the Water Elemental. You can figure out exactly, are you maximizing the amount of damage you're doing or not. Maybe I'll grow another level. If not, I might use a little bit of healing. Level 8. Cool. I do want to get to at least level 7 with each class. It looks like I'm almost there. And it looks like I've got my level 4. So I am fully healed. I can, of course, click on my gold statue to heal completely if I needed to. But we're getting closer now. Now we're using these magics. Water for the fire elemental, earth for the, or wind for the earth, and thunder for the ice. I'm not going to use the thunder on the ice, just because Sprig has a thunder weapon. So there's no point in me kind of double dipping there. I can focus my attention towards a different elemental that Sprig can't really do much with anyway. So let's focus on the fire elemental for now. They all have the same stats, by the way, so in terms of, like, who should you focus down first, it's not that any one of these is stronger than the other. For all intents and purposes, these essences, these different attacks that they keep using, they're essentially identical. They all have the same, with the exception of maybe I might have changed which essence can potentially nerf which stat. Off the top of my head, I don't actually remember that. Like the fact that Arak is now slower because his agility is down. Let's use mini crack all. Hoping to kind of kill the fire elemental and do some damage. So maybe the only difference might be the fact that one of these essences might nerf one specific thing, like see how the luck all went down? I think that might actually be the one difference I made between the different essences. So now all of a sudden the magic defense went down during that attack. Alright, let's Frenzy. We're getting close to a win here. I am going to use a mini heal all just to play it super safe, because, you know, God forbid I end up missing twice or something. Might still probably be okay. Sprig might die, but it's not the end of the world. Let's use Reap the Whirlwind. I don't think I'm going to kill off the Earth Elemental. Yeah. Let's focus on Aeromancy. Finish off the Earth Elemental. And then pretty much anyone can kill the Light Elemental at this point just because of how low its HP is. Either one of these should be fine. 2 hits from either character. Nice. And level 5. Good. So if you can handle it at level 4 to get to level 5, you should be fine with everything else. Here, again, we're going to focus on the ice. We're going to focus the ice on the thunder elemental. And maybe we just play through this a little bit faster. We can go in different orders, too. I'll show you another strategy that we can implement as well. Whether you're missing a lot, or maybe you don't have the exact gear to make your life a little bit easier, maybe you're just not realizing some of the shortcuts. You know, we could do mini heal all consistently, so that way we'll pretty much never be in danger of dying unless we run out of MP. I'm good for about 3 more of those mini heal alls. Another thing you can do, I'm pretty sure both Sprig and Marion have certain status ailments that can essentially neuter at least one of these elementals at a time. So for example, let's say I use Chokehold on Wind Elemental and put it to sleep. Now it's not going to be attacking for 3 turns. Now I only have to worry about getting hit by 3 enemies at a time. So I can kind of remove from play 1 or 2 of these elementals to make things more manageable. You can go down that route, especially if you're a lower level. I want the status elements to be integrated into most people's play, whether you prefer to put people to put enemies to sleep or whatever other status element you like. I want that to at least be an option. There's the opportunism I was waiting for. Let's use Lumomancy to finish that Dark Elemental. Good. We can use Righteous Flames, although it might not do a ton of damage, it's at least super effective. I'm just leaving the Wind Elemental alone. Now, the Wind Elemental is just woken up. It's gone through all of its turns. I'm not really concerned about that. Let's use Nutra-Slash. Let's see if that actually... Okay, so Nutra-Slash, or anything with Nutra in front, like Nutramancy, Nutra-Slash, those tend to do a strong amount of damage, so more than your average attack. It's not just an average attack, but it's a little bit does a little bit more damage. And since it's neutral, it doesn't do any elemental specific damage. So you might wonder why you bother even using a neutral version, and that's basically because the MP cost is lower. So if you can't exploit an elemental weakness based on the elemental options you have and the elemental options that the enemy is weak against, if you can't exploit those elemental weaknesses, then you might as well just use a neutral version. I think I could just use Basalt Assault, but I wasn't entirely paying attention there. So neutral options are still valid. They'll let you do more damage than normal, but at the expense of a little bit of MP, not as much as if you were doing an element-specific attack. We're close. Now we're there. And we now have another key item. It was really that short. Arcane Spellbook obtained. This is the one that comes after the Strong Slipcase that we got in the Stronghold after going through Prominence Pass and speaking with the Ornithundra. So now we've got a slightly longer cutscene. You need to go again? Already? But you just got home from your last trip. Do you really have to leave so soon? Yes, I do. But Mom! Marion, that's enough. How many times do I need to hammer it into you? I'm sorry, I just miss you, that's all. I understand, but sometimes you need to just bottle up your emotions and put on a brave face. Don't let your feelings flare up and control you. I know. I wish you could stay longer, though. Me too, but you know I can't. You know I have an obligation to the king. You have an obligation to your daughter, too. When I see you, I get so happy. But then you leave again and again, and it's like I'm being knocked over by a never-ending tidal wave. Marion, you need to be strong. Your father and I gave you my name to remind you to stay focused and not slip up. Sharing your name with me isn't as important as sharing your time with me. Dad left, you're never around. Your father leaving wasn't your fault, and now I have to spend even more time away from you, just to support the two of us. First, it's the king's fault, then it's Dad's fault. Do you have a book full of excuses, Mom? You'll see that there are references to the words arcane, spell, and book in this more evolved, progressing cutscene. What's on the next page? Hi, Iraq, how is your... You got me flowers, roses, lilies, and hammer orchids, my favorites. Iraq, your kindness and thoughtfulness always shine so brightly. You really know how to lift someone up when they're feeling blue. We should talk about our plans for tomorrow. Is there a theme you had in mind? Perhaps an idea? An inkling? A notion? If you could create a title for tomorrow's story, what would it be? Every day can be a brand new adventure, especially when sharing it with people you care about. We should bring plenty of supplies on our adventure in case we need them. It's a good thing you're strong. I'm so excited I can hardly contain myself. I know that you're looking forward to spending a day out and about, too. Let's try to get some sleep. We'll rest here for a spell so that we have plenty of energy for tomorrow. Who knows what secrets will be waiting for us tomorrow? Obviously, these cutscenes are designed to provide a little bit of backstory or a little bit of background for the characters, and there'll be more cutscenes based on memories and other pieces of information to better understand what Sprig and Marion and Marrow and Iraq are all about. Those baddies were so stubborn and so rude. Are the monsters gone? Did they all run away? Yep. They took a bow and jumped ship as soon as they saw the explosions. Your strength saved us all. Aren't you upset that they still gave me the slip, though? I mean, the baddies did get away. Even if that were the case, Old Providence Town is still safe thanks to you. What's your name? I'm Marrow. Nice to meet you. Did you use any fancy spells on them? Perhaps you know some arcane magic? Nope, nothing special. I just did what anyone else would do. Even still, you went above and beyond to protect us. Follow me. Now we've got Sprig. Good afternoon, Sprig. Good afternoon, Your Majesty. What brings you into the armory? It is time for Edel to pass the torch to you. Come. Wait, sir. What is it, Sprig? Sir, with all due respect, I don't think I deserve a new title. I haven't proven myself yet. Sprig, I know I'm stern with you, but it's because I have confidence in you, and you prove your worth every day that you serve this kingdom and my family. I care deeply for this kingdom, sir. I see that. You are strong and wise and reliable, and you rarely slip up. When it comes to all my defenders, you are a unique case. You are a good leader, and you absolutely do deserve a promotion. Thank you, sir. I will not let you down. I know you won't, and besides, as Edel grows older, he becomes more and more arcane. You have your own mystique about you too, but it's clearly a benefit for us, especially in battle. I thought I knew every trick in the book, yet you continue to impress me. But enough talk for now. Come. Ends the cutscenes for now. And I know I talked about how I could just kind of suicide and head back to the mage's house, but in the spirit of not needing to grind too much for the next episode, I do just want to fight my way back, because I can still talk about other things as well. So I hope you'll bear with me as I do a few more battles just to head back. We are going to focus on Ice against the Thunder with a physical attack. And let's focus on the Wind Elemental here. And the more you do this, the quicker you'll get at it, obviously. And I really do try to make it obvious as to what the elemental types of each enemy is. A lot of times you'll see color coding. So any sort of light-ish blue will very clearly be the water elemental. Anytime you see green will very clearly, in almost all cases, be a wind, some sort of wind element. A bright yellow will be thunder. Purple will tend to be the dark element. So if you see an enemy that's like completely purple, that's almost certainly going to be the case that it's dark type. And you can always look at the attack. See, there's the water icon, there's the wind icon, and you'll see the thunder icon up here as well. These are the same icons that appear in your skills. Here's the fire icon, ice, and earth. You'll see these same skill icons, or elemental icons, in your skills, as well as with the enemy's attack with. I've purposely added those in to make it very clear. Again, if you miss the colors for some reason, you can take a look at the attacks they're doing. Or, if the attack icons aren't doing enough for you, or if the color codes aren't doing enough for you. Additionally, we have the names of the enemies, as well as the names of their attacks. So the fact that it says Water Elemental, the fact that you see bubbles here, the fact that the move is Water Essence, I'm really trying to make it obvious that this is water, and so therefore, if you want to care about exploiting elemental weaknesses, you should be using fire. I'm going to do a little bit of I'm just going to do a lazy mini heal all. Now notice I'm out of magic points here. I really don't care, because look how many mini magics I have. So, get a little bit back now. That's more than enough. It doesn't really matter that I'm down to only 6. I'm pretty sure you do get some decent loot here as well. Fire tends to be some sort of red. Obviously here it's more orangey, but it's literally a flame. So you shouldn't be able to mess that up. Earth tends to be either brownish or orange. Ice tends to be a dark blue. Try not to confuse that with water. It is certainly possible to confuse that with water. Water is more of a light blue, ice is more of a darker blue. And light tends to be either like a bright white or a grayish. Here, again, since the icons, or since the sprites are so clearly a certain element, I didn't need to match the colors perfectly. At least I don't think I needed to match the colors perfectly. I should be using Vanquish on the Ice Elemental. Be great if I didn't miss that. But remember, the Thunder weapon is good against the Ice enemy. It's certainly hard to commentate on exactly what I'm doing while trying to do all of the perfect moves, while also paying attention to, or trying to think ahead about what I'll be doing for the rest of this episode. But in that case, it's a lot like teaching math, which is what I do for a living. Teaching math is absolutely fantastic, but you do need to multitask a lot mentally between working out a problem, making sure you're not messing up the arithmetic or the algebra, while thinking about where you're leading the discussion, while also simultaneously making sure that you're not making any mistakes, and thinking about what you're going to be doing next, and also paying attention to all the students in the room. Kind of making sure they're paying attention, and also trying to read on their faces if they're understanding, or as you're moving around the room, listening to all the different discussions. Alright, so let's see what you can do here. I think double swing overall will do a little bit more damage than a single vanquish. But let's see. Maybe not. Can we finish off with Brontomancy, or do we need one more hit? Nope, that's more than enough. My MP was getting really low there, but again, there's a level up. Marion just received a new skill called Loot Body. This is basically Steel times 3. When you use Steel, and I know I haven't really been exploiting them. Actually, you know what, let's just use Loot Body, just to show it off. So Steel will steal 1 reward, and it always steals the gold first, and once you end up after you successfully steal the gold, then you can have the potential to steal items. But with Loot Body, you can steal up to 3 times, and so I just stole the gold, and then also 2 items as well. And you can do that for any enemy where it would normally, any enemy that would drop gold and or items. I also have Umbromancy All now, which is fantastic. Now I can do dark damage to everyone. I don't really need to waste the magic points right now, because it's not going to be super effective against anyone, so I'll stick to something easier like, well, I would normally stick to something easier like Lumamancy, but I'm pretty sure Arak might have just learned Lumamancy All. Yeah, so let's use Lumamancy All with Arak. So there's the super effective damage, and we can start whittling away at multiple enemies that aren't taking the super effective hits too. Sprig got Triple Swing, which obviously is a triple swing. Better than double swing, but obviously there's a significant magic point increase. So in some cases, if you think you can actually kill off an enemy using just 2 hits, you might want to actually just use double swing instead of just permanently using triple swing forever. Balancing all of these skills, especially the ones that are kind of obvious improvements, like going from hitting 2 times to hitting 3 times, I wanted to make even the lower level skills still be useful later on in the game. So, you know, if you're tight on magic points, you might still want to consider other options. Ice Burst Thunder. Let's see. Let's use Pyromancy on the water. That missed. I guess we're just going to use Ice again. Now notice the opportunism takes so long. Everyone else was really, really close in the turn order, so Marion has to wait for everyone else to attack before Marion can get that opportunism off. So I'm not going to really pay much attention to the Thunder Elemental because it'll die next turn when Marion gets to go. But if... Actually, I just lied. I'm going to use Frenzy. Maybe I can kill off these 2. Well, it's worth a shot. So sometimes strategies will get undermined if you're missing something or if a new opportunity arises. Definitely dead. And I could, like, use Elite Beat if I want to, but then Mero's going to go anyway. It doesn't really matter at this point. I wonder if a regular attack will actually hit. A lot of times, when you've got really high physical defense, or when an enemy has really high physical defense, a regular attack just won't register at all. Oh, that registered just enough. Level 7 still. So I'm just going to heal. If you mini-heal 4 times, you save some HP than doing a mini-heal all. Mini-heal times 4 is 80 MP. Mini-heal all is 100 MP. So if you're out of battle, use mini-heal. If you're in battle and you can't afford to waste multiple turns, use mini-heal all to just sacrifice a little bit of magic points to get everyone healed up faster. Again, it's a matter of balancing. So we have like just 2 or 3 more battles. Notice here I'm not even bothering using my technical points. I could... Well, Devastation wouldn't really do much because I can't really aim who I'm going to attack. Mero's Alacrity, that casts status ailments on everyone, that's not a bad thing at all. In fact, I'm going to use it this turn with Mero, just to show you kind of another way I can exploit a situation. And the main reason why using Alacrity here isn't really a big deal in terms of wasting all of my TP is because, remember, all of these enemies can very well hit me like 4 at a time, so the TP gauge can register, can increase pretty fast again. It looks like I'm out of magic points for the most part. Some options. I could use, for example, a quid pro quo. Sacrifice 50% of HP to restore 50% of MP and gain 50 TP. Let's just use it. I lost some HP, but I'm going to get all the magic I need back. at the expense of what? Maybe using a mini heal on myself next turn? Not a big deal. I'm going to use Redemption, because I have a Thunder Weapon, which is good against Ice, and so this will do massive damage, which is more than the normally focused Vanquish, very strong, that I've been using. The transition here tends to be from average physical damage, which is the same as a regular attack in terms of damage, average, which increases to strong, which increases to very strong, and then the maximum adjective is massive. Those are really the different degrees or the different tiers of damage, whether it's a physical or magic attack. Look for those adjectives. And just got one-shotted. Get some TP back again. Now obviously these two are paralyzed, which means they might end up not being able to attack. But I'm really not particularly worried about that. Let's Reap the Whirlwind. I'm keeping a little bit of an eye on Arak's health. I might want to have Arak heal himself. Marion gets to go again, because she's very high speed in general, which you can kind of see when she's not using any sort of delayed attacks. Should I get greedy? I could get a little greedy. Let's use Umbermancy. Arak could definitely take some damage that knocks him out. Not a huge deal. Let's say we use Triple Swing. Average physical attack. So these might not do a lot of damage at all. Not a lot of damage. Now, I could have used Sprig's turn to put an enemy to sleep, for example. That probably would have been a better use of my turn. Marion's at 30 MP. So notice here, she can't afford the higher attacks, but Neutra Slash, since it's not any specific element, she can still get off a strong physical attack here. Let's use Umbermancy All. That'll definitely kill this Lead Elemental, and it'll hit the Fire Elemental a little bit. Actually, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to use Hydromancy, because in terms of who can hit the Fire Elemental, Mero's the #1 candidate there, whereas Arak can just finish off the Light Elemental easily. What else? Do I want to use anything else here? Let's go with Triple Swing again. We have the magic points. And we get the level up. That's fantastic. I'm going to switch over to level 5 here. I know I wasn't really paying attention, so these are level 8. If I was a little bit more efficient with my leveling, if I was paying a little bit more attention, these all would have been like level 7 by now. I like this strategy of keeping them all around the same level, so they all kind of learn skills around the same time. You can level up one to level 10 and then start over with another one if you want to. I just find it a little bit easier in terms of monster difficulty to keep everyone at around the same class level. Now we've got Water, Wind, Thunder. My Water, Wind, and Thunder spells will not be particularly great against them, but I remember I've got an Ice weapon. Let's go with Pyromancy, because Marion can take care of the Thunder guy. And Arak will do damage to everyone with Lumimancy All anyway. Look at that, full TP again. Just because I'm tanking a couple hits from every single attack. Lumimancy All, this should really whittle down the Dark Elemental. Nice. And again, these are also getting low. They're potentially in danger of dying. That's the virtue of having a strong attack on everyone. There, I was confident that the Ward Elemental would die anyway, and given that the Ward Elemental was going to die anyway, I figured I could start whittling down other enemies. Marion doesn't get an attack all for a pretty long time. So for now, she'll just focus on that Thunder Elemental. Let's go with Geomancy. Because again, Arak can probably take care of this Dark Elemental, which should happen next turn. Full TP, nice. Not really worrying about losing HP. Because I'm at a low enough level that I might actually level up here. I'm not sure. There we go, level 6. One more level up would be nice. I think this is the last battle, though, in this region, if I kept aiming towards the top right. I don't think I'm forced to do any other battles. Water beats fire. Let's use Umbermancy All, just because there's a light elemental here that can take some heavy abuse. And You know what, let's use Lumimancy All. It's not going to be super effective, but it will hit everyone. So again, so many different strategies you can use and potentially abuse. As we verse harder and harder monsters, you're going to have to change up some of your strategies. For example, in the later stages of the game, the enemies aren't quite as susceptible to status ailments. Maybe they have like a 50% resistance, where you might have to use sleep twice for it to actually work, or maybe even 3 times for it to work. They might have higher defense stats, or they might have faster speeds, which might, again, change how you approach those battles. And I tried to make the later dungeons in the game different enough from each other. That way you kind of have to figure out things, or figure out new things for each dungeon. Maybe you can't get away with using the exact same strategy for every single battle in every single dungeon throughout the entire game. Level 7. That's fantastic. So, didn't actually plan that, but it worked out really nicely. The other thing I want to do in this episode, because otherwise it's a pretty short episode, is now that I have this key item, Arcane Spellbook, I can start talking to some of the fairies, and they can give me clues to hidden items and other secrets. So if I talk to this Arcane Fairy, it starts off the same way with every single Arcane Fairy, saying something like, "Hello there, I'm an Arcane Fairy, would you like me to translate an arcane spell for you?" And the answer is automatically going to be yes. Totally. Okay, let's see. And then the spell that's translated for each Arcane Fairy will be different, signaling some other interesting secret that you can have access to. And these are all side quests, by the way. So if you're looking to complete your quest log, your journal, you would make sure that you complete all 10? I think 10 fairy quests. Okay, let's see. On the filled landmass of 60 strong, there was a real entrance all along. One of them on the north edge can be crossed, then follow the hidden trail and don't get lost. Walk from white to green and then back to white. Turn west when you rest and then check for a bite. While traveling through this path might be a pain, advanced weaponry is what you'll obtain. A new side quest has been added to your journal. So if you ever want to go back and figure out or reread what that clue was, it's in your journal, it's available, it's a treasure hunt, and this is exactly what the clue was, what the spell was. Also, if you just recently talked to the fairy, you can press B for the backlog, and it's here again. So sometimes it's just faster to press B. What the clue is referring to is this island right here. If you go back and to read what the information is, on the filled landmass of 60 strong, 60 trees, one of them on the north edge can be crossed. Most of these, well, almost all these, you can't actually enter onto the island because there's trees everywhere. But once you talk to the fairy, you can go in through this specific tree. And it's that specific tree. It says one of them on the north edge can be crossed. Walk from white to green. So we're moving from the white trees to the green and then back to white. And then when you hit the dead end, you're going to click west, turn west. So right now, I'm just going to navigate through the little, really essentially invisible blocked path here. And now I'm at the dead end. I'm going to turn left, click on my left tree, and I just gained some other weapons. In fact, these 4 weapons are the other 4 elemental weapons that I don't have yet. That was on purpose. Remember, back in the Glacial Grove and Snowburbia, I got a light weapon, a dark weapon, a thunder weapon, and an ice weapon. So the other 4 elements I'm missing are a wind weapon, a water weapon, an earth weapon, and a fire weapon. So now, Treasure Hunt 3 has been completed. It's gone from the journal, or at least it's in the completed area. And in fact, I can choose any one of these weapons I want. Sprig can do 4, Marion can do 4. Remember, they flip-flop between who can do the magic elements and the other physical elements. So Sprig, since he can eventually use light magic, fire magic, earth magic, and ice magic, the other 4 elements that he can wield as weapons are dark, water, wind, and I currently have equipped thunder. So we can leave this area now. Now, to get into this island, you have to talk to the fairy. There are some other fairies, in fact, almost all the other fairies, that give you quests that you could actually solve without even talking to the fairy. So in other words, up here is another treasure hunt location, this mountain I just clicked on. And I ended up receiving 2 new shields. Treasure Hunt 1 has been completed, and if you're wondering where that comes from, it's the fairy that was all the way over here by Lone Gate, where we got the different talismans. So if you took the time to travel all the way back over here, you don't have to do it by boat. You could have just walked below and talked to this fairy here. Again, you need the Spellbook for the fairy to translate a spell. And she says the same thing. I'm an arcane fairy. You want me to translate an arcane spell for you? And this time Marion's the one who says, definitely. Okay, let's see. It may come as a surprise or a light thrill, but accessories have been left on a white hill. Find the square of islands, go north of 12 o'clock, hit the wall, and out will fall shields for your flock. So when we talk about the square of islands, that was the 3x3 matrix of islands over to the left, which we'll pass by again. Go north of 12 o'clock, I just went due north from those islands. At the end of this arcane spell, there appears to be a check mark. Perhaps you've already completed this one. I have this as an autocomplete. Anytime you have a quest that's done from a fairy, like Treasure Hunt 1 in this case, if you complete the quest and talk to the fairy will tell you at the end that you've already completed the quest. That's why there's a check mark. That way, if you're looking for, maybe like one last fairy to complete one last Treasure Hunt quest, any fairy you talk to will let you know if you've already done that one or not. So really, I went down to here, the 12 o'clock, and I just clicked up there at the mountain. And that's how I finished that quest. I already received this treasure chest here. That was at the end of last episode. There are a couple other things I can do. Here's the Northeast Forest. I can now access the rightmost area of the Northeast Forest. I don't want to go there just yet because the monsters are really strong. And I actually am okay with getting that treasure chest a little bit later. There are a few other things I want to do here. The treasure chest is one of them. I might as well do that now. I can access this treasure chest. Usually the light switching sequence takes this long if you're not holding down like spacebar or any specific button. Let me compare it to if I am holding down the button. So if I'm holding down spacebar right now, or you can hold down the mouse button or the controller button, and it basically goes twice as fast. 1,000 gold obtained. Little gold there, not a big deal. But it certainly doesn't hurt to have a little bit more money. We have 6,000 gold. This fairy will give us another quest into the bottom right area. Hello there, I'm an arcane fairy. Would you like me to translate an arcane spell? Certainly. Okay, let's see. If you're looking for more assistance, there are hidden weapons that provide resistance. Travel to the chest below the boat tent, and sail east until you are forced to relent. So, if I go back to the chest that I was just at, and I believe it said travel east, and sail east until you are forced to relent. So, if I start over here, and keep traveling east until I hit the wall, it's at this area where I get something else. Resistance bracers, resistance claws, and resistance rod ×2 obtained. So these are other weapons. Now, I happen to have the resistance rods, but the other weapons that Sprig and Marion can wield, each of them can wield some weapons that are not elemental related. So resistance bracers does not do extra damage for a specific element, but it reduces all elemental damage by 10%. It's kind of like a fair or a equally resistant across all elements. And while Sprig has the elemental bracers, or the resistance bracers, Marion's got the resistance claws, which does the same thing. We'll head back on the northern side, just because it'll save me some time in a little bit. At this point, I can actually move to the east. I am the captain of the Western Guard. If you wish to travel east, take care. Do you have any words of wisdom for us? While the lower tiers of classes unlock a variety of basic spells, the real benefits appear for the masters, and not just in terms of stronger skills. Master tier fighters earn special items for each level they complete in a class. These items must be very powerful. We'll make sure that we use them after leveling up in master classes. Remember, currently I'm in the advanced tier of classes. When you go to your classes, the first class is your novice tier, and then you have two advanced tiers. I'm sorry, then you have two proficient tiers. One novice, two proficient, four advanced, and then eventually you end up with 8 masterclass tiers, which we're going to talk all about maybe next time, maybe the time after that. This location here you cannot get to yet until you get the ship, which is what we'll be doing next time. This individual, the captain of the Eastern Guard, otherwise wouldn't let you pass until you have an Arcane Spellbook. I normally don't let travelers pass, but I see you have the Arcane Spellbook, which is what we just got. To obtain that book, you must have shown great strength and resolve. We are definitely prepared now. Let us through. I would kindly ask for one little favor before letting you through. You want to take a guess as to what that is? I hope it's not an arbitrary fetch quest. I hear there are delicious mangoes out west. Damn. Do you happen to have one that I could try? Now, I believe we still have 3 mangoes. We went back when we ran out last time and got 3 more mangoes. And in fact, I am actually going to use all 3 mangoes before I set sail on the ship. And what most players of this game won't realize is that there are 2 other areas that will become available after getting the ship. One of them here, and one of them back in the Loot's Mansion, where I can give away the other 2 mangoes. That way I can get a lot of boosted items, powerful gear, and then get another trio of mangoes before setting sail to the later non-linear parts of the game, those 8 dungeons that we'll get to later on. An absolutely terrific mango, thank you. Did you expect anything less from the loots? So now we can move to the right. You are free to pass. Good luck exploring the rest of Overworld. Overworld? Mero, don't you know that Overworld is the name of our planet? I kept seeing the name up here, but I guess I was assuming that Overworld was talking about something else. I guess I'm learning something new. The Arcane Spellbook has been completed. So to be clear... Oh, and Mango 7 has been completed. Great. 2 down. To be clear, this Overworld map is referring to this entire land, this entire planet, called Overworld. It's not just the generic term Overworld meaning everything. This is the name of our planet. Vintana's running around again. And again, we're going to do absolutely nothing to help him out. Dot 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 dot. Anyways, what's next? That Citadel up ahead looks promising. Sounds good. Yay, more adventuring! And in fact, you can't even chase down Vintana's anyway. Aren't you the weird guy from the meta-reference mansion in Old Providence Town? Yep, that's me. How's it going? Are you enjoying yourselves? We sure are. We're collecting goodies for the king, and we're beating up baddies along the way. What are you doing here? Oh, I just wanted to see if you needed anything. How about you give us all the remaining items on our itinerary for the king? Nice try, but no. Do you really want the entire game to be over already? What do you mean? Game? Never mind. How about changing things up a bit? Changing things up a bit. I know exactly what you mean. Microtransactions! No, there are no microtransactions in this game. I'm just messing with you all. But seriously, what do you want to change? And so now we start to reference how insane the encounter rate was in the last place we were just at when we got the Arcane Spellbook. Although technically those weren't random encounters, I had purposely set each of those tiles to have those battles, so you were guaranteed to have those battles with all of the elementals. Well, we just came from a place where nearly every step we took resulted in another battle. There were just way too many unavoidable enemies. It was pretty annoying. Can you do something about that? Okay, I've got it. Okay, done. What did you do? In some regions, you'll have more control over your enemy encounter rate. Just some regions? Not all of them? Correct. How so? You'll see. Anyways, time to head back to the mansion. You should come visit again after you earn the official seal to CC Seals. The what and the what? You'll see. Now to be clear, the previous regions we've already been in will still have random encounters. It's just a nod to the fact that most of the rest of the game will have visible encounters, where you'll see colored spirals that allow you to actually choose, do you want to fight in this battle or not? So you can purposely avoid enemies, or you could purposely track down enemies. That way you don't have to worry about RNG deciding whether or not you fight battles if you want to grind and fight a lot of battles, or if you want to avoid battles, you'll have a lot more autonomy that way in most of the remaining dungeons. How else are you going to sail east? You didn't disappear. Remember, every time up until now that's happened, the glowing, spinning NPC has just disappeared. Of course not. Why would I? Later, everyone. The Sailor's Citadel is where you'll first find visible encounters of a colorful kind. You can sometimes avoid, but not always escape, and you must climb the stairs to become shipshape. So the next thing we're going to obtain once we beat the captain is the ship, which allows us really access to the rest of the entire game, all the dark blue areas, because we are right here at the moment. We'll have access to really, for the most part, the rest of the game after we get the next key item. There are some hints here. For example, this individual tells you exactly the elements that you're going to be facing up against. And so if you have the right gear and potentially the right elemental necklaces, you can really make your life a lot easier. I'm almost ready to fight my way to the top. What do you mean? The captain and his crew are all the way on the 4th floor, but to get to them, I'll have to make my way through some of the other competitors first. I'll avoid most of them if possible. It seems like you're well prepared. Absolutely, I've gathered intel from everyone who's tried and failed to win the captain's ship. I have everything planned out perfectly. Is that so? You better believe it. You probably couldn't handle the fights upstairs anyway. Most battlers can't. What do you mean? I mean that even though the captain and his crew use water attacks, do you remember last episode where I bought the water elemental necklaces that reduce water damage? That's exactly why. The other fighters are trying to counter with thunder and wind attacks, so all of the other battles that I'll have to encounter before the captain, I'll be versing thunder and wind, which means I will hopefully be using ice weapons and ice magic, and earth weapons and earth magic, so I can purposely set up the gear now ahead of time. Can you believe that? Interesting. And here's just a chest or two. Mini tonic all. And here's one more. These two individuals are actually in a later cutscene of the game. Mini magic all obtained. These people's names are Jin and Joe. Again, another Banjo-Kazooie reference, Jinjo. This is terrible, Jin. I know, Joe. I can't believe how easily we were defeated by everyone upstairs. We couldn't even get to the 4th floor, let alone challenge the captain. I was really hoping that we could have won the captain's ship for the king. Yeah, I know. Another ship for his fleet was a huge priority for him. Where did he go, anyway? Who, the king? Yeah. I think he flew east with 4 guards. I hope they're all right. And 2 more NPCs. I wish I could sail away from Hargoth. Other regions, like Laris, have people and creatures and towns that look so different than the ones here. Welcome to the Sailor's Citadel. Are you competing today? What do you mean? A retiring sea captain has decided to hand his vessel over to anyone who can beat him and his crew in a battle. He wants to make sure the new owners of his ship are hardy enough to withstand the dangers of the open seas. And we can use his vessel to sail east? You can do whatever you want with the ship. Ooh, that's exciting. What did the sea captain use his ship for? Mostly for traveling and exploring, although recently he was using it to look for seals along cold coastlines. Seals, like the animals by the ocean? Yep, exactly. There are rumors that seals prefer to live in colder climates and along coastlines. I don't think he's had much luck finding them, though. I suppose that's why he's retiring now and giving away his ship. Having a ship could aid us in our search to find the king, his caravan, and the remaining items. And our little boat was limited anyway. That's true, but the boat can still come in handy if we ever want to go back and travel around our old areas again. You know, like if we need to get more mangoes, or go back to the Meta-Reference Mansion, which are the 2 main reasons why you'd go back. Looks like we gotta fight some sailors now. Where can we find the captain? The captain is upstairs on the 4th floor, so you'll have to make your way up 3 floors from here. The orange-haired armorer over there can help you out. Are we equipped to even fight against a seasoned captain and crew? The armorer can help you out with that too. We should talk to everyone to see if anyone has seen the king or his caravan lately. Good luck. So in terms of making sure I've equipped good gear, the Crash Axe won't be particularly helpful. Although, if I'm versing thunder enemies, I don't have an ice weapon. And if I'm versing wind enemies, I don't have an earth weapon. So I can just use I can keep my Flood Scourge on for now. That way I don't forget about it later on. Actually, Flood Scourge isn't really the best move because I'll receive less water damage, but at the same time, I'm not going to be doing anything super effective against the captain and his two allies. So maybe I actually keep the Crash Axe here. Not because of anything elemental related, but just because compared to the other strong weapons, the stats are a little bit better, at least as far as the attack side goes. The physical attack. If you swap between different elemental weapons, you'll realize that there's slight trade-offs between magic attack, physical attack, and some other things as well, like agility and luck. So I'm going to keep the Crash Axe and just not get to really exploit any elemental physical benefits there. Another alternative is you can try to boost your magic attack as much as possible. There's plus 10, there's plus 20, 15, 15. So maybe going with the Gale Lance might be good if you want to focus on using magic, because Sprig's magic can exploit the elementals. So again, it's really up to you. I'm going to stick with the Crash Axe. Shields. I received better shields because of a fairy quest. I've got 2 Scutums, I think that's how you pronounce it, and Tarj. And I've played enough Diablo 2 that I feel like I should know how to pronounce that word. But alas, I might not. Rhyme Gata. Let's stick with the Rhyme, because Ice is going to be good against the Thunder enemies. Alternatively, I could switch to the Quake Bow, so that the Earth could focus more on the... so that the Earth benefit can focus more on the Wind enemies, especially if I care about using magic attack. But for now, let's stick with the Rhyme Gata. We've got a stronger shield here, and let's increase the benefits for these as well. Sometimes there's drawbacks. Sometimes with the higher level gear, you end up losing a little bit of agility along the way. So you kind of sacrifice defense or sometimes attack for agility and vice versa. This should be a reasonable amount of protection. We don't get ribbons until a little bit later. And I think I'm good with everything else here. Yeah, that seems to be just like an equal swap. So I'm pretty much set. I'm going to leave the resistance rod for now, because this is going to maximize my spells, my magic damage. I don't really care too much about using a lower level staff just for the elemental weaknesses, but you might think differently than me, and that's fine. I'm going to end the episode here. Episode 6 is in the books right now. Next up, we will go up these stairs, and we'll get that ship, and then we'll do a couple other little bookkeeping things before we actually sail east for the, I guess, second third of the game, because we're pretty much done with the first third of the game. And then we'll have a lot more non-linear places to explore. So thank you for sticking around, and next time we will get that ship. Take care. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more clips about Mango Mischief, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. The Steam link for my game, as well as all Mango Mischief social media links, are posted in this video's description. I think you'll enjoy my satirical, retro-style, turn-based JRPG, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments section below. Thanks!